investing in women in the financial sector. I'm joined live via Skype by Kristin Bentz. She's a branding, media, and strategic advisory for luxury and consumer brands and has been named one of the top 10 women in finance to follow now on Twitter. Welcome to the show, Kristin. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I have to tell you, I'm one of these people still sort of amazed at what a struggle it is or can be for women to be given the chance that they have earned. Before we get too deep in this discussion, tell me about some of the biggest hurdles out there still blocking women from advancing in the field of finance.
One, it's opportunity. Two, it's education. I'm finding more and more in the work that I'm doing with young women on the university level that there's really no curriculum for fiscal literacy. Especially with young women, everywhere from the elementary level all the way up to the university level. There really just isn't fiscal education out there for women, and that's one way we can definitely start to make those opportunities happen.
Well, are there segments like that for men, or is this something just different? I'm a little kind of lost on that one.
Well, it's interesting. I think men traditionally are pushed more to math, they are pushed more to business, and historically women really just haven't been pushed into finance or know that it's available and, as an option for them, especially at a secondary level in education. And so now we're seeing a lot more of, young females really asking and wanting to have that fiscal education. And that's what I've been doing and spending a lot of my time with on the university level.
Got it. Now, there's some real success stories that Li Tan talked about in her story, like some women making real headway. But is that enough? I mean, there's some at government levels, but we just don't see them in the very lucrative positions, say on Wall Street, as much as we do men, obviously.
Exactly. So, the CEO position is very coveted here in the United States. And for women, we're still plugging away trying to get there. And there's a lot more work to be done, especially on the boardroom level as well. And not just women, but people of color, LGBTQ, folks that identify in those areas are much more difficult to place here. So it still is a long haul. It is getting better, but there's a lot of work to do.
Tell me about some of the companies and corporations, perhaps, that one would think it would just make good business success if there were initiatives to help women succeed.
Well, I think that goes for any company and every company. There's a saying that I've been seeing a lot out there in social media saying, nothing ever goes wrong when women have money and access to money. And so when you have women in finance, we tend to manage differently. We manage people differently. Women are born multitaskers just by the nature of having children. And especially during the pandemic, women especially bear the brunt of that, educating their children, taking care of the household, maintaining their positions as well in the corporate world. So, there's so much work out there to be done, and every company can benefit from that.
I want to give you a different take on that because I think it really transitions well into one story that I heard during the pandemic, a highly successful Midwest U.S. attorney who found she was working from home and she was able to spend more time with her young children. And she says she's torn. She doesn't want to be seen as the person, oh, I'm fine just doing what I'm doing. Do you hear stories like that in this climate? And what can women do to say, look, I can do all of this?
Well, that's the problem. And I'm a walking, living version of that. I have twin 12-year-olds that have been remote for the entire year. And I'm also running my business and managing media and managing my clients as well and trying to stay relevant in a pandemic and also seek out new clients and new business. And it's tough. And, there's a saying that, women, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at one time.
Well,
so, we usually feel like we're doing well in one area. The kids are doing great, but then you're a mess. Or your career is fantastic, but, you're having issues at home.
Boy, that's
so
tough.
I think we all struggle on a daily basis. I know I do. And I think part of being a leader is knowing when to ask for help. And it's okay. There's so much, what I like to call productivity porn out there now during the pandemic with people showing you their workouts and their closet organization and their bread that they're making and all of that kind of thing, right?
Right.
So I think we need to take it easy on ourselves. Excuse me.
Exactly. Well, compare the financial sector to what we've seen in Silicon Valley. Are women getting a fair shot right now in the financial sector?
I think they're getting a fairer shot. I came from Wall Street. I came out of Lehman Brothers originally. And, that was like 10 or 15 years ago. We were just starting to do diversity programs for women and people of color. And so, Silicon Valley was a bro network very much like Wall Street was. And so I think things are getting better. But still, you really have to get out there and dig your heels in. And, women oftentimes, if we are to the point we're, being told that we're too aggressive. And men would never be told that in a work setting ever. So I think women really need to stand their ground and have an opinion.